We are back with one of the final steps, and maybe the most fun, because we're going to do the Turkeywork stitch on the head of a head and the thorax of our little butterfly, which is he's finished, our little moth, I mean, and we are going to make it all, you know, poofy. So we're going to, what I've done here is to prep it. I'm using chenille needles, number 18. This is in your materials list, and I'm going to use, I think I'm going to use both of these colors, sort of a buff color and a yellow, but I'm going to start with the yellow. I like the yellow the best, and I'll decide whether I want to put the tan one in there or just yellow. And what I've done is I've taken my template and I've measured, and I've come up with a 17 millimeter diameter circle. Let me start with the yellow. Okay. Right. Now, you don't need to tie a knot, and we're using wool thread. So I'm going to go down. Now, you may have done Turkeywork before, and you've seen that they do them in rows, and they keep them really tight, and they go, you know, it's like, wow, it's very regimented. And you can do that if you want to, but it works as well if you just do them randomly. Okay, so I'm going to just start, here. I'm going to go through, and I'm going to leave about that much out, because it will be trimmed for sure. And I'm going to come back up nearby, but anywhere nearby, and then I'm going to do an anchor stitch. I'm going to anchor that one down. Okay, so there, so I'm starting like that, but then I'm going to come up, next to that, and I'm going to do a loop. Stitch back down, hold that, right, and then go further over just next to it, stitch through that. It's a little hard, but yeah, because it's very thick. Okay, now it's my loop is about same size, same height as that, and then I'm going to do a small anchor stitch again to anchor it down, and then I'm going to move on. Okay, I'm going to pull that, make sure it's anchored. Okay, so now I'm going to do another loop over here, and then close by I will do an anchor stitch. So I'm going to do my loop. There it is. These are way exaggeratedly too tall, but it's just to show you. I'm going to come down and anchor that. So I'm really close to my loop, and I'm going to just put a little anchor stitch. And then I can go up further away. It's a little physical pulling all this through. I think I got mine. No, they're good. Anchor. Okay, so my loops are good. They're not going to come out. I've anchored the ones I have. And I'm going to make another loop. Okay, so let me do another one. And then come up real close so that I can prep my anchor stitch. I'm going to start holding these down. Okay, is it big? Good enough? Yeah. Okay, I'm going to anchor it here. You can keep turning, you'll be able to turn it. Okay, and I'm going to go a little further away. Oops. So every time you take a loop, make sure it's the right height that you think would be good for your moth, and make sure you anchor it. So I'm going to just sort of I'm going around the edge, as you can see. So I've tied my knot and cut it off. So this is what we have. I counted, we have one tail and 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 loops. We may not need that much, really, because the wool will kind of be poofier than cotton would. I'm going to then go in with my buff and try mixing the colors. So I've got a little spaces in between here, so I'm going to start maybe over here and make a tail. Leave a tail sticking up, so I didn't put a knot in. That's approximately as long as the other loops, right? And then I'm going to come back up and then continue as we did before. We've put quite a few stitches. We did what, a tail and 2 loops, and then we have a tail and 7 loops. It's probably too much, but that's okay. Let's see what it does. If it's way too poofy, then we'll have fewer. You'll be able to do fewer ones on your moth. Okay, so we're gonna snip them. This is gonna be fun. We're gonna snip all of these. Anyway, this is the fun turkey work stitch. Gives us sort of pom-pom effect, or this poofy, fuzzy effect. There's one here. It looks like there's one down here. Is this a poof? Is this a loop? I don't know what that is. Looks like it was a loop. Yes, it was. Oops, that got tangled a little bit. All right. Okay, so wait, of course they're way too long, but what I'm gonna do anyway is start with, you could use a wire brush or you could use the end of your scissors, sharp scissors, and you're gonna start poofing them out and start trimming them. So I'm gonna trim them already, so now I don't need them this long. You can use a wire brush, other kind of a small stiff brush. You can also apply some steam to it when you're done from your iron. I wouldn't put the iron right away, right on it, but just next to it and hit the steam. And it will make the fibers poofier, and they'll fill in any spaces you didn't get into. Okay, so that starting to be poofy. Now what you need to do, you know that, okay, over here that would be way too long, so I'm going to just look at it from all angles and give it a trim. So in the front it might be a little shorter, at the bottoms turn it every which way. Look at it from the side, from the top. Make sure it's a little bit higher on the top, maybe. Could be a little too much, but I'm not sure. Let me just have a little snip. Okay. Going to move it up a little bit more because it seems to, I don't really want to see the individual pieces of yarn. I want it to be a little poofier. right, it's starting to look good and not too big. Not well, it's pretty poofy, not too big. Okay, so there you have it. That's how you do it with the wool. It looks, you know, you're gonna apply your steam from your iron to make it really, you know, because it's like when, you know, when you go out in the humidity and your hair kind of poofs out, you know. It's like that. It'll do the same. It'll fill in any spaces. But anyway, it does look good. I like the mix of the colors. So just outside of that line you drew, right, you had your circle, you cut it out, right, cut that out, put a little fray check on there so that the fabric doesn't fray, let that dry, and then come over here and place it on. So we said it was 17 underneath. It'll be a little bit bigger, it'll stick out. It will cover this one, but move it up just slightly. Anyway, the poofiness would cover this one anyway. And what you can do then at that point is stitch that with just a little running stitch around the edges and a couple of stitches right on through the middle of it. There we have it. I'll see you in the next step.